In this video, I'm replacing the saggy headliner from my R129 Mercedes SL500. If you missed the last video on this car, you would have known that this car left me a gift after the last repair that I made for it. But I'm doing this introduction quite different. I'm doing it halfway through the process so that you know that this DIY video is worth watching. You know that I know that I know that you know, because this is the end result. So definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel. I do DIYs, I got a lot of loud V8s, I got a bunch of fun stuff here. So let's get this started, because this is what it looks like now, this is what it looked like before, and this is what it looked like halfway through. So my first look at this to figure out what I'm doing is, it looks like I need to take off this entire trim piece, and in order to take that off, looks like we need to take off 3 Phillips head screws. We'll see if there's anything else. So let's just start with that first. So once you get the 3 Phillips head screws out, definitely don't lose the little washers. There's no real tricks to this. After that, there's 3 clips that are hiding at the bottom lower right-hand side of the panel, as well as 1 in the middle, and that's the biggest one that holds the entire piece in. There's a little bit of trim at the top that just overhangs a piece of metal, but don't worry about that too much. Don't use any of the tools that you see me using right here. This is definitely a hand job. All you need to do is pull apart the panel. There's 3 clips behind, 4th one in the middle, and then you lift up at the top with some little tabs holding it in. It's really easy. I'd suggest you pull on it as hard as you can to the clips, and you'll see them once you look behind the panel. Oh, I can feel clips over here. Okay, there's a clip. So I found 1 clip. I don't know how that is in there yet, but there's clearly clips in there, so I guess that has to come out somehow. Let's see. Yeah, there's another one. Okay, so there's at least 2 in there. And a little bit more fiddling around, eventually the panel pops right out. Oh, there's another one that released in the middle there. Ah, okay. Aha! Mechanic. Okay, so it looks like there's 3 clips here, and then a clip right in the middle over here. So this clip that fell off just has to match those 2, so it looks like it'll just go back on like this, right there. And then I guess they'll just snap right back into place when I'm done. Moving around to this side, repeat. This one should be a little bit easier now that I hopefully know what I'm doing. As everybody knows, the other side always goes twice as fast. 3 Phillips head screws and 4 clips, and we got this panel right out. Yep. And 1 more, I think. There we go. That should be it. Oh yeah, and then these clips. I think I just need to pry up here. Yep. There we go. Oh, super easy once you know what you're doing. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's 3 little hooks along this edge right at the top. So you just lift it up. Next thing are these handles, and I think there's 2 screws that are underneath here, I would imagine. So I'm just going to pry this. With these little plastic clips, you definitely want to get underneath as much as possible. So if you're using a flathead or a little pry tool like I am, try and pry straight up, because that panel just needs to click up. And then there's 2 little bolts which are 8 millimeters below that, and the handle sits in little grommets as well. So pull straight up. I guess this just comes right out now. Yep. Okay, so it's held in by these kind of rubber grommets. Let's get that to focus. Yeah, it's held in by these rubber grommets and 1 little nut and bolt, or I guess just bolt, and that's it. So this side will now just fall right off. Oh boy, look at that. Repeat this process on the other side. It is identical, nothing difficult about it. And eventually you can peel that headliner right down. Although I would suggest not actually peeling that headliner off, because the glue stays attached to that rubber part, and it makes it really tricky later down the road to actually slide this thing out of place. Okay, pull this right off. Ooh, gross. So let's just pull this old liner right off. It's basically just melting right off. Oh, there's a little bit of hold there. I guess because it's probably wrapped around the edge. Okay, so the question is now, how do I take this whole thing out? Is that enough to be able to pull this off? I guess maybe I just pull from the bottom, hope for the best. Oh yeah. So based on my experience here, if your headliner has been fully pulled out, I wouldn't suggest pulling straight down. If it's still attached to the actual headliner, I think you can get away with pulling straight down because then the glue isn't stuck to the sides of the rubber. Oh, this stuff is disgusting.
Look at this glue with the old foam. Oh, can I get this to focus? Oh, I should probably wear gloves.
However, if you already pulled down your headliner like I did, I would suggest that you actually pull it out of the rubber from the sides very, very carefully. If you have a second person here, it makes this job a lot easier. Yes, that is what you do. Pop it out from the side and now pull it out. That is the trick. You'll just have to clean it up later. Done. At least somewhat done. Oh, that's cool. There you have it. Glue fest. Now is the gross time where I have to scrape all of this off somehow. And just so you guys can see, here's what the back looks like. And I guess that's the part number if you wanted to pay big money for one of these things. Next thing, I actually got some gloves, so we're gonna put these on because this material is pretty gross to work with. So I think it'll actually help quite a bit. And once we got our gloves on, we're gonna go to the next step and start using tools. There's a couple of different methods to take this off that I've read about online. Let's see which one works better. I'm not gonna spray this with anything unless I absolutely need to, because apparently you can just use like a brush. So I'm just gonna try that, see if that does anything. This is just regular bristle brush. And if that doesn't work, a steel, whatever these are called, the steel bristle brush things. I forget what the name right now. I'll probably put it on the screen. And if all that doesn't work, then we're gonna try and vacuum it. I'm gonna need one of these anyways, a shop vac, because we'll see how much of a mess this makes. And let's just peel this back. So the part right here is very thick with foam. So the goal is to get this as clean as possible. I believe about like this, because this is the fiberglass part. So because so much material stuck to the actual headliner, it looks like the majority of the part that needs to be peeled is around here and then over there up at the top. So I guess I can just peel this right off because we don't need this anymore. It is actually still holding on to the backside pretty well. So something did hold here, which is good. I don't want to wreck this too badly because there's some kind of lining on this backside. And I know I need to glue this back over here as well. So let's just peel that right back over here. And throw this in the garbage because we don't need that anymore. All right, so this is what we're working with. Got a fairly clean sheet. Trying to adjust it for the camera. There we go. Okay, let's try this method first and see what happens. Let's try low speed. Oh wow, that actually works incredibly well. Oh wow, oh my goodness, this is gonna be so easy. Oh man, this just cut my whole job time. I expected this to take hours. No way. Let's see the bad part over here. Oh my. Okay, so if you're thinking about doing this, definitely use this. Oh, this is so easy with this. I can't believe it. I'll link one of these in the description because this is worth every penny. Wow, this is just taking it right off. So this is where your prep is the most important part of this entire process. Take your time to remove all of the glue and foam residue. If you leave any little bits of glue or foam, they will not let your new glue and new headliner adhere to each other. So this is the longest part of the entire process. And overall, this took me about 30 minutes. And I just wanted to make sure that everything I did was correct and make sure that your edges especially are cleaned up and around the handles and anywhere that the headliner has a different contour, because those are the areas that I think are most prone to sagging. And that's it. Now to clean up this mess and see how we did. Wow, that was not as bad as I expected. So vacuum up any remaining materials. If you need to go over it again, I'd suggest you do that. Take your time right here. This is the most important part of the process. If you need to go back and do it again with the brush, vacuum it up, take your time here. So then it was time to head to the fabric store where they actually had headliner. So what you're looking for is a foam-backed product. They have these on eBay, they have these on Amazon. I didn't really like what I saw on Amazon, so I went to a fabric store so I knew that I had the correct match. Just because the closest match to mine was actually discontinued, and I'm okay with it being a little bit darker. I actually prefer that. So I've got the headliner and I've got the glue now. Headliner cost me 55 Canadian dollars, very reasonable. I ordered 1.5 yards just to have a little bit of extra, I think, if I did my math correct, which I kind of barely did my math, so it should be fine. 3M headliner adhesive. This is what I'm going to be using. Now, in Canada, this stuff is crazy expensive. I paid $40 on Amazon for this because I couldn't find it in any stores and I wasn't about to cheap out on the headliner adhesive. But one funny part that I've noticed in the instructions, even though it is called headliner adhesive, it says, may not hold materials in vertical or overhead applications. Isn't that what headliner adhesive is? Anyways, this is the best thing that I could find, the internet suggested, so it is what it is. So let's lay this thing out. I've already got it prepped. I'm gonna try and minimize the overspray, so I got some cardboard set up, and with this perfectly matched to my interior, should be good to go. So here's the fun and slightly terrifying part. Although I'm gonna tell you right now, don't be scared. This process was easier than I thought it was after doing it. So what you wanna do is spray the glue in nice overlapping motions, just like as if you were painting a car. Although I noticed that I actually sprayed quite a bit more material. I wanted to use the majority of the can, so I wanted to kind of save at least half the can for both sides for obvious reasons. And you wanna apply it to both sides. So you want to apply it to the actual back of the headliner as well as the backing board. You want to give it some time to actually dry and tack up. So it takes, I thought, about 5 minutes with the temperature and humidity levels in my garage. So what you want to keep doing is checking your watch and touching it. And once it gets kind of sticky where your glove or your hand is sticking a little bit to the material, that's how you know it is the perfect time to start applying the product. And again, if you had a second set of hands here, this process would be even easier. What you want to make sure is that the glue is not going to attach to itself and your headliner is not going to basically fold over. And you also want to make sure that you're going to get into all of the little crevices. So take your time with this. This product seems to be very, very forgiving. Done, sort of. I still have to wrap the edges, but as you can see, that wasn't actually that hard. Yeah, I'm a little sweaty, but it's actually really hot in my garage. I should probably just open the doors, but literally perfect. That was actually surprisingly easy. Okay, now to do the edge wrapping, which is going to be a little bit tricky because I'm trying not to dirty the headliner, and I've already got glue on all this stuff. Something I've just noticed is there's these little tabs that line up with the actual hardtop, so I'm going to have to trim this back, and I'll probably just do a little cut over here, and it'll just be a perfect fit, and I do have to trim a bunch of this. So I've raised it up on my little roller seat, and if you have a workbench, this would be a lot easier. So what I'm gonna do now is just trim all the way around, a little bit tighter to make my life a little bit easier, but I'm still gonna have enough material to wrap over so that this will never delaminate or deglue, hopefully. So what you want to do now is the final overlap on the edging. Now I'm cutting out those 3 little tabs to make sure that they're not going to interfere with my headliner once I have to slide it into place. And then I trim around so that I don't have too much overlap and the headliner isn't too thick. So what you want to do on the corners are called relief cuts because the material will not want to bend the way that you want it to bend. So if you cut it in certain spots, you can kind of overlap it on top of itself and it makes the corners a lot easier. And you want to make sure to get the glue on both sides, again on the headliner and on the back of the actual backing board, but without getting any overspray too high up, as well as you don't want to actually get it on your good headliner. So watch your thumbs, watch your fingers, watch everything that you're touching during this process. Look at that. It's literally perfect. It's like I know what I'm doing, even though this is my first time ever. Now I just need to make the little cuts for the handles, and we're done. Ha ha! Hell yeah. Glad I did this job. Little cuts right there, and we're good to go. After a shirt change and some careful deliberation, I think I'm not going to slide it in. If I had 2 people, this would be a lot easier, and you could probably slide it in because it's very tricky. So these are like rubber felt gaskets kind of thing to keep this all nice looking. But if you don't have 2 people, it's really hard to slide it up there. So what I'm going to try to do, I don't know if this is gonna work out, is I'm actually going to get it into the correct position on one side, just before I have to snap in these little white tabs, and then kind of tuck it under this whole edge, because this kind of needs to bend. So it's a little tricky to do all by yourself. And there's a bunch of kind of residue glue under there as well. And then once I have that side in kind of, I'm going to try, because this has to actually bend and I don't want to break it. You gotta get it tucked in here on this side without damaging it. And it is very tricky. Okay, there. I think this plan is working so far. Just gonna go nice and slow so that I don't wreck anything, because I did such a good job and I'm quite proud of this. Hopefully this is the right decision, because so far it seems like it. All right, come on. There's a bunch of old glue residue that is not making my life easier right now, and it's gonna get some little dirt on the headliner, but that's okay, because we can clean that after. Oh boy, you literally have to go like 1 millimeter, or what's that, 1/8 of an inch at a time to get this to seat correctly. Oh boy. Hopefully this is the right plan. I think it's gonna work out. Don't worry about that gasket that's hanging down there. We are going to fix that last, or maybe the next step. I'm not really sure yet. Okay, so we got it most of the way here. See if I use 2 fingers. No. It's going, it's going. The idea is good. We'll see about the execution soon. Okay, there we go, there we go. And we are tucked in. Question is, now, will it slide with all that kind of old glue residue from the other thing before? So there's these white tabs that I made little slits for that hopefully everything lines up and it just clicks right into place, and then this sits right on top. And then there's 2 little hooks at the bottom of this as well. So now I'm just gonna try and push this up and see what happens. Oh boy. Yes. Oh shit. What was that? Oh, I think that was a clip. Okay, that's a good sign. So that means I think I'm right on for there. So now let's try over here. Okay, that's another good sign. Little snaps. Oh God, don't break that. Okay, I think we're done. These holes line up, I think. Are these in? Now how do I get this gasket to seat? Oh yeah, I just kind of shove this in here. No, does it have to go higher? I wonder if this has to go higher. Or should this have already been in? I don't think so though. Oh yeah, okay, here we go. So this rubber gasket should just snap right in here. Oh yeah, looking like $400, which is what the upholstery shop would have charged me. Uh-oh, what do I do here? Maybe it's just not far enough up, because that's obviously not supposed to be where it is, unless I tuck it in. No. Okay, let's try and push this up a little bit more without breaking anything. Oh God. No, this fiberglass wants to like bend right away. It's very, very tricky to work with this. Okay. I think that's good. We'll see if the grab handles line up. This obviously isn't ideal. So I need to figure out what's going on here. Maybe this just needs to be moved down and out of the way, because this side seems to be good. Maybe this side just needs to come up. This is a very tricky process, because God, this material is so unforgiving. The tab is in, so I think this is all correct. There we go. There we go. All right, look at that. You got that nice sealed up. Let's make sure this one is too. This one has to come down a little bit more. There. Okay, tuck this up, and we have the holes for the handles. I think I'm done. Whew. Yes. All right, let's see if these handles line up. So now you can start by reattaching your handles, make sure that the grommets click into place, and then get your 8mm bolts back in. So it's time to install these side panels, and I'm actually gonna start with these 3 clips over here. If you can see those, they should align with a panel on the inside and then snap right into place, making my life easier. And then there's a 4th clip right up here. And then there's not really any clips, there's just little tabs over here that I think I can lift over once everything is in place. And make sure you're not pinching this cable, because that's your rear defroster cable. So we're gonna start over here. Should make some happy sounds, which are terrifying. Let's pull it. There we go. Oh yeah, okay. Good to go. And it even aligned right up here. Perfect. So now there's just 3 screws left over here at the bottom, and everything is nicely aligned. So if your panel is aligned with all of the clips, your screws will go in no problem. Repeat on the other side. Let's see if we can get this right the first time. Okay, so we're gonna start with these clips over here. Pull up. There, I think that's aligned. Looks good to me. Oh, that one, oh, that clip didn't want to go in. I'm gonna pull this out, and then we're gonna try and get it lower. There. 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 Good to go. Final 3 screws, and you have earned yourself several beers because of all the money that you saved. So there you have it. Not that bad. My first time ever doing a headliner. Now, the only reason that I did attempt this in the first place was because it's an SL500, so the hardtop is removable. So I'm not on my back removing all these interior panels, dealing with side curtain airbags and all this weird stuff that modern cars have today. I can literally have it on a stand and do it vertically. It would actually be even easier on its back on the floor, but then you gotta have a really nice padded floor so you don't scratch it. If you had a second set of hands, that would have made this even easier. So total time into this with filming, because filming takes a lot of time. I gotta set up this camera and make sure all the angles work and blah, blah, blah. Took me about 3 hours. So this is realistically a 2-hour job. Even your first time ever is really not that hard. I'm glad I did this, saved myself a bunch of money and got some content out of it. So I hope you guys like this DIY video. Let me know if this video helped you out, because I didn't see any specific videos for the R129. I did see a bunch of other videos on YouTube regarding headliners, and I did watch those, so that I kind of knew what I was doing. And now I really do know what I'm doing. So if I ever had to do this again, no problem. And I will update you guys on Instagram, so follow me at It's Really Jacob if this ever sags again. I really don't think it will. It was really bonded there. The key to the whole process is to make sure that that spray is tacky. So give it a lot of time in between coats, spray it down, wait at least 5 minutes. It says, I think 30 seconds to 30 minutes or something like that on the can. But just make sure that both sides are tacky, and that's the key to this whole thing. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next video, which is probably going to be this thing giving me a check engine light.